What's up, guys? It's CJ, and we are back to talk about another episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. But before we get started, make sure you like this video. Also, comment as you see fit in a respectful manner, of course. And please subscribe to my channel. And with that being out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this episode was season 5, episode 15, and they titled this one Portu-Girl Bye. And the girls, this is their season trip, and they go on this trip minus Monique for obvious reasons. But we start the episode with the girls packing and they're getting ready. Everybody is getting ready for the trip. Candace is still in shock because she just learned that Monique pressed charges or also filed charges against her. And she's talking to her mom and she's telling her mom, that she should probably get new luggage. And her mom just basically tells her if that will help her feel better, then she should go ahead and get new luggage, which we did see her luggage on social media. I think it was Instagram, I want to say. Some really pretty like rose gold color luggage. It was real cute. But anyway, we go over to Karen, and Karen is meeting with Monique. And she didn't get a chance to go to Monique's Not for Lazy Moms live podcast because she said she wasn't feeling well. So she did want to meet with her. And Monique wanted to kind of get clarity on what Ashley told her about what Karen said regarding pressing charges, how she would press charges if she were in Candace's shoes. So Monique is kind of wanting to clear the air about that. She kind of wants to know what's up with that because Karen has been a friend to her during this whole ordeal. So they sit down at this diner and, Karen's kind of uncomfortable because all the girls are going on this trip to Portugal and they are not taking Monique. And so she's kind of uncomfortable about bringing it up, but she does kind of want to get it out in the open, and because Monique is her friend and she doesn't want her to feel like, they're hiding or keeping something from her. But Monique, they got their pleasantries out of the way, and Monique kind of wants to know right away about what Karen told Candace. And I didn't really get a good understanding or explanation from Karen. And I don't know, did y'all? Because to me, she didn't give her an answer. It just kind of seemed like she just reiterated that, look, I do not want to pick a side. I want to be friends with both of you. And Monique is completely fine with that. Monique is not making her choose a side. Monique says, look, it is okay for you to be my friend and Candace's friend as well. I am perfectly fine with that. And it kind of seems like that's where the conversation left off. And I did want to mention that Monique was cool with the fact that the women are going on a trip without her because she understands that this would probably be the most awkward situation in the world. So she was perfectly okay with that. And plus she is wanting to rest because she says that she's tired and whatnot. So it wasn't as big of a deal as Karen might have thought that it would be. So then we go over to Ashley, and Ashley's at home with Michael, and they're kind of going over some housekeeping deals about, Dean. And Ashley wants to know, if Michael plans to be home every night, does he have like any events or any engagements that will keep him away from baby Dean outside of work. And he says no, everything that he's done is pretty much, complete, everything that he had to do. And so she tells him that, she feels bad that she hasn't mentioned to the other girls yet about her writing a statement for Monique. Monique asked her to write a statement, and I guess it was more of a character kind of deal against Candace because this will help Monique's case against Candace, which we know that both of them were thrown out eventually. But I guess Monique is trying to make sure that she's straight on her side as well. So she asked Ashley, just because Ashley had that altercation with Candace last season where Candace had the knife, waving the butter knife at her in her home. But she agreed to do it because she said that Monique has been nothing but a friend to her. The Samuels have been nothing but a friend to her and Michael, when they could have easily thrown them under the bus when they had the booty grabbing scandal that went down in Monique's basement. They didn't. They just stayed neutral and they stayed completely out of the situation. And so she feels like she owes Monique this, so she did it. She said she didn't do it because she doesn't like Candace. She did it because she looks at Monique as a friend. And she says that Monique has kept, secrets of hers that she probably could have easily told. And it was basically just secrets about how Ashley and Michael were bringing other people into their bedrooms. But anyway, so this is the day of the trip, and the girls are excited and they're off to Portugal. And it's so funny because Wendy and Karen are like seatmates. And I don't know if that was done on purpose, which I'm sure it was, but Wendy just says that she's going to try not to call anybody the B word during this trip. And she says she's going to try, but it may slip out. But anyway, they get to Portugal and everybody's tired. So they agree to have dinner at the hotel, which was a really, really, really beautiful hotel. And it was funny to see the women interacting at first, trying to speak the language. And Wendy was about the only one who knew how to say something in their language. Portuguese, I think. Look at me. I don't know either, but it was funny. So they get there and the rooms are just breathtaking. The rooms are absolutely gorgeous. You see a lot of gold. You see a lot of marble. And Candace had something in her room which appeared to be lipstick, but she said it smelled like chocolate. And she even bit it to see, but we never found out if it was chocolate or if Candace just took a big old hunk of some lipstick or not. But it was really cute. The tub was just beautiful, and I'm a huge tub buff. I love a beautiful bathtub. And that tub that was in Candace's bathroom was just amazing. But that's neither here nor there. So they finally go down to dinner, and Wendy takes this time to tell Karen how her name came to be. She tells her that she, when her parents came over as immigrants, her dad got a job at a fast food restaurant, and he had worked so hard that they made him manager. And he was so grateful for this opportunity to be this restaurant manager that he named his second born child after the restaurant, which is obviously Wendy's. And so Candace was like, okay, I mean, not Candace, Karen was kind of like, okay, that's all fine and good. And they kind of go back and forth. This argument starts back up about these degrees again. And so I guess they're done at this point because Wendy says that, she's going to put a button on it and it's done, but it's not done. But that's what she told us that night. But Ashley tells us in her confessional that, she needs to eventually tell Candace about this statement because she knows it's going to come up eventually, and she doesn't want to seem like she was sneaking and doing it. She wants to be upfront, and I'm supposing she's just trying to find the right opportunity to tell her about it. And so after that argument ends with Karen and Wendy, or debate, or whatever it was, Giselle asked Ashley, how she and Michael are doing after the whole infidelity scandal hit social media. And she tells her that they're doing, really good. And Karen kind of immediately noticed that, here Giselle is asking somebody else about their relationship, yet we have yet to see Jamal in person as a group. She is asking everybody else about everything else. But when they, want to know about him, she doesn't really want to talk about it. It's like mum's the word. So Robin gave Ashley some really good advice and basically told her that she can't put the weight of Michael's infidelity on her shoulders, that Michael does need to accept some responsibility for what he did. And if he's really serious about being with her or being faithful to her, he will. And it was good to see Robin kind of give her some of that decent advice. And Karen then used that opportunity to ask Giselle why she hasn't brought Jamal around. And, she says, well, Jamal lives such and such states away. He is always booked and busy. She's just making excuses herself. And so they they see, and so I don't know how it came up, but Giselle did mention that, she and Jamal are having sex, which kind of blew the socks off of me that you would say that, because we know that Jamal he's a preacher, and he like lead pastor of that church. Is it New Birth or something down in Atlanta? And you're telling us that y'all are basically fornicating. Y'all were husband and wife. True enough, y'all were husband and wife, but y'all aren't husband and wife today. And so they're just boyfriend and girlfriend, just kind of hunching to me. And Candace caught it. And Candace, the shade was funny because she was kind of like, oh, they're having sex, and everybody else, I'm sure at home, was thinking the same thing. But, Karen asked, well, is Jamal proud of you? Because normally when a man is proud of a woman, he likes to be around. Basically, he shows her off, he takes her places. And basically, she's just kind of saying, you haven't brought him around. Is he ashamed of you? Are y'all really together? She just kind of wants to get down to the bottom of things. And Robin does kind of chime in, because she brings up, everybody has brought their husbands or their significant others around the group, and you're the only one that really hasn't. And that kind of shocked the socks off of Giselle, because Giselle is so used to Robin being team Giselle all day, every day. And so for her to kind of say something or have an opposing view or something that's not necessarily in Giselle's favor, that did really, really rock Giselle's bell a little bit, because she was just kind of like, well, damn, I want Robin to have my back. And she didn't necessarily have her back in this situation. But I just kind of think that, Robin was kind of telling it like it is. She probably feels the same way, why haven't, and if y'all are the closest in the group, obviously she hasn't been around Jamal much either. So she probably is wondering the same thing. But anyway, they're all done. It's the end of the night. The ladies are retiring to their bed, to their suites. And Ashley calls home to see if Michael has made it there yet. And the sitter says, no, he's not here. And Dean is very tired, because I guess it was agreed that Dean wouldn't go to bed until Michael got home, but Michael's not there yet. So Ashley's calling, and he answers her call, and he's like, well, I'm just leaving work. And so they, she was kind of grilling him like, where are you? Dean is tired. And he basically just tells her he doesn't have time for this, and he hangs up. And so they make it seem like she was calling him back, and he wasn't answering the phone. So Ashley was all beside herself, crying and talking about she wanted to go home and this and that. And so then we go over to Robin. We see Robin, and she gets a knock at the door, and it's Giselle. Giselle comes to see her. Robin is in her pajamas at this point. Robin is probably exhausted and ready to go to bed. Giselle is still fully dressed, and she ordered dessert. And she was just going to share dessert with Robin. But she kind of had a bone to pick with Robin, because she wanted to know why Robin, didn't have her back in this Jamal talk that Karen and Candace brought up at the dinner table. And Robin does feel like she should bring him around, if they're together, because this is a part of Giselle's life and she feels like Giselle ought to bring him around. And she doesn't really change her stance on that, but Giselle does kind of let her know, you're supposed to be on my team, just have my back next time. Just shut it down next time they talk about Jamal. Just shut that conversation down. And I'm like, why? If it's what it's supposed to be or what you say it is, then it shouldn't be anything to shut down. You should be able to handle it, but whatever. And so the next day, we see Candace, and she lets us know that she does not want to talk about this incident between she and Monique at all. She doesn't want to talk about it. She's still healing from it, and she's brought some of her sticky notes that we saw in the other episodes. And these are more of on a healing note, saying, forgive to forget or forgive to something. I forget, but it's about forgiving. So I'm guessing that somewhere within her, she feels like, okay, I'm probably gonna eventually be open to forgive Monique for what we went through. And so Karen goes to see Ashley, and she goes to see Ashley in her room, and she kind of talks about how, Giselle has come at each and every one of them regarding their life or their marriages or their relationships. And she thinks that, it's pretty bogus that Michelle, who is Michelle, that Giselle doesn't want her or anybody else to kind of come at her. And Ashley, also tells Karen about the conversation that she had with Michael the night before. And it turns out that Ashley was just on some bull, because apparently Michael had called her right back, and he was like 2 minutes from the house. And it turns out that Ashley was just overreacting and everything was good. But Karen, wants to make sure that her overreaction was just about, the baby, and not about her secretly being worried about Michael being, unfaithful or his infidelities. And they kind of cut that conversation, and they meet with the rest of the girls downstairs because they were going to go on the little cable car ride, which looked really, really cool. And since there were 6 of them, they had to split them up. So they split them up into 2 groups. 2 groups. I am exhausted. As y'all can probably tell from this video, it has been a really, really long weekend. We have just kind of been celebrating and happy about our new president-elect and our vice president-elect. We are just extremely happy about this change, and we are very optimistic. So excuse me if my energy is not as high as it normally is, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all can relate to the level of excitement that has been going on since Saturday morning. But I'm exhausted now, and I gotta work tomorrow, so sorry. But anyway, we got Ashley, Wendy, and Giselle in one cart, and then we've got Candace, Robin, and Karen in the other. So it was kind of, they broke them up, and I believe they did this purposely, but they get, to the restaurant. And I've noticed, and I noticed it at the hotel restaurant, that Karen is not really drinking. I don't know if I saw her with a glass of wine earlier on, but they did make sure to show that she drank milk the first night at the hotel. And then today, the girls were ordering the poom poom, as they were calling it. And that's not the formal name for that drink, but they were ordering rounds of those, and Karen opted out. And I don't know if she's just kind of playing it safe because of, when she drank the last time and she started spilling the beans to Wendy, which caused this, gossiping about her and her paying half of the taxes for Ray. And so I'm thinking that she's probably just trying to maintain a level head and not get under the influence of alcohol and start telling any more of the business. But that's just my theory, which if it is, I don't blame her, because obviously it didn't get her anywhere the first time she tried to open up to him. But anyway, they kind of want to know what each group talked about on their way there, and nobody really wanted to talk about it. Ashley excused herself, and she came back with this breast pump strapped to her chest, and she was like pumping out of both, breasts. And it was strange to see, just in that setting there. I'm all for women breastfeeding, and pumping. I don't really care if you do it in public. I just don't want, I don't want the perverts looking at your tatas or anything, even though stuff like that shouldn't be sexualized. We know we live in a sick world and people get off to the weirdest stuff. So, but I'm all about a mother feeding her child. But anyway, we get back to the dinner, and Giselle is still trying to stir the pot with Wendy and Karen. So she asks if they've resolved their issue, which she knows they didn't resolve the issue, because she asked Wendy the same thing when they were in the cable car ride on their way there. And she kind of put a battery back in Wendy's back again, and Wendy was ready for round two. So Karen's like, yeah, we did. As a matter of fact, Wendy put a button on it. And so Wendy's like, well, I kind of want to unbutton it for just a moment. And she starts up again. And so at this point, Robin is like, oh my God, how many times we're going to have to listen to this? Good Lord. So, she goes on again, and she talks about, her 170 something page dissertation that she wrote, and how she was doing this as she lost her father and she was pregnant. And, she just went on and on and on about what she fought through to get this degree. And nobody is taking that away from her. That is an accomplishment that, like she said, less than 2% of the world has achieved. But, okay, we know. And we congratulate you, and we love you for it. But Lord have mercy, just let it go. So she, Karen just, is just not even entertaining it at this point. Okay, they're like, okay, all right, I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. So then, Karen sets her sights back on Giselle, and Candace actually has some help in it this time, because Candace, says, well, since we're on the subject of friendships, Giselle, is it a certain reason that you don't bring Jamal around us, or something to that effect? But she gets the Jamal conversation going again. And so at this point, Karen says, well, I think that Giselle received my question wrong last night. I wasn't asking to be, malicious or in your business. It was coming from more of a place of, if something is going on, or wrong, we just want you to know we got your back. And so Giselle was like, well, you said none of that last night. Last night you were coming for me. And so they were just kind of going back and forth. And so she FaceTimes Jamal and lets him see the group and all of this. I guess that was supposed to be her way of saying, well, yeah, we do talk. We are together. But nobody really gave a damn about that. But they sit there and they argue. And that was pretty much the end of that episode. I'm pretty sure I missed a few pieces here and there, but it wasn't. I'm still waiting on something like spectacular to happen outside of the fight that happened, a couple weeks ago. That was like the most action that we had gotten in a while. But this episode basically was just the beginning of the trip. I'm sure it's going to pick up as time goes on. But like I said, please don't forget to like this video, comment. Let's be respectful. Y'all know the insults and cussing. We ain't got to do all that. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel also. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Well, we're going to do the same, and y'all have a good one. Peace.